This hangout is on air. It's on air. Gotta go to my own fucking link. Oh. Where the fuck is the link? There it is. Alrighty. Oh, I know what I gotta do. I gotta change my fucking headphones over.
The chat would like to speak. Jonathan's AirPods. Very nice. Jesus Louise. Jesus Louises. I'm all fucking wet. Oh, you can hear me? Okay, good. All right, good then. So we got 15 watching now. We got Flatlander, Morgan Ellis, Himawari, Flatlander, Morgan Ellis, and Cat's Eye. That's a lot of people. Osher 6, the Kosher 6, Flat Glenn Clark, Bam. Bam. Himawari. Himawari. I'm over here now. Mr. Ty Gordon. Hey, if anybody wants the clink, I will send it up because that's the kind of guy I am. Is it now? Is it now? That's the kind of guy you are. That's the kind of guy he is. It's retarded like that. There we go. That's for anybody who wants to snipe the hangout. Yeah, the link right there. Make it easy for you. Bro Sanchez said he got sniped the other day like a fool. Like a fool. I don't know. Chanel's kind of rainy. But dismal. Right now I'm cleaning up my god dang my phone case. Anybody know of a good iPhone 6s Plus case box? Hey, does somebody want to jump into this to make sure the link works? Maybe. I got so much crap open in the background. So much crap. Your iCloud is overflowing. What would you like to do about that? Nothing. Let it overflow. Let it. Let it.
Hey.
Gloriosa, Sawaya, Moatsa, Topola. Yeah,
I'm good.
kind of dismal. How are you?
I'm really good. Just waking up. I had a call in to go to work today, but I told him no. So
Oh no, F you.
good for me, right?
Yeah. No, I'm not coming in today. Hi, Chanel. It's so and so from work. Just wondering
Shout
if
out
you
to
wanted to.
Liz. Love that girl, man. I missed her so much.
Was that Morky?
Morgan.
Morgan? Morgan Ellis. I don't know Morgan Ellis.
She's pretty
I think
cool.
I think I know her from the chats, but not in like person or digital person. That is. She's getting organized. You're not coming out of your room until you get organized. Or organized, as they say. Morgan Ellis, why don't you jump on? Mo, third part of the Mo trio, Trinity, kind of tag.
Yeah, I'm gonna make some coffee right now.
I know, I think I need some too.
I got a flat Seattle roast over here.
Flat Kyoto roast.
Seattle, sorry.
Seattle.
Yeah.
I'm just putting a
So I
thing
heard
in.
you're having a after party. That's gonna be cool.
Yeah, hopefully I don't get kicked out of the hotel, and if I do, it's no big deal. Not the first time. But I don't think that'll happen. I think we're gonna have to do a dun 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 dun.
If they kick
Okay,
you
go
out,
down the
they're
hallway.
gonna have to kick me out as well.
Yeah, tell the barkeep, the bellhop. Hey, listen, buddy, you're gonna have to deal with her. All right, sir, you can stay. Fine, have your party.
That's right. We don't need no Warwick over here.
But it's gonna be kind of cold up there on the roof, don't you think?
Well, just don't wear a short dress. Everybody's gonna be good.
Yeah, let me
Yeah, shout out to Chester. I say hi to him a lot too, just on the chat.
Is that you vibrating?
Yes.
Yeah, it must be. This Osmo thing looks pretty cool, actually.
I can turn it on.
It's like an attachment.
Let me see.
No, it's all right. It's actually kind of neat.
The snack shack vibrating all day.
Uh-oh, the cops are here.
Hey, am I in the snack shack right now?
Yes, you are. Welcome to the snack shack.
I was listening on YouTube, but is he still CTA here?
No, he had to go. He had to go to work. So
Okay, good. Well,
I'm continuing.
from what I heard though, it sounds like everything's moving along swimmingly.
Everything is, yeah, I think so. We're talking about how to film.
Yeah.
The best way to film.
Yeah, and what you're talking about with the going in advance, the day before and doing like a filming of the setting up of the thing.
Those are always fun to watch. I think, in my opinion, when you see like I've seen so many documentaries as it is, but as of late, I've seen ones where they do like a concert, for instance. They show like setting it up. Who's that funny young lady?
Yeah, I'm all for it, honestly. I think that the behind the scenes, the amount of content that's going to be generated over the course of the weekend.
It shows like all the the work that goes into it.
Yeah, I think that actually might be a
People
highlight.
who don't think it's a big deal. For the people who don't think it's a big deal, that kind of makes it a big deal. You know, there's a side to filmmaking and selling movies, and that whole idea that, I guess, is not for us. That's for the people who can shake down the studio execs and like bullshit their way through things, you know, and to get money for movies and to be a salesman, I guess, because you can't be an honest salesman. I don't think it works that way. But I think there are going to be, you know, naysayers, and even the people that don't. I mean, the people who think the Earth is a globe are still going to watch this, whether they like it or not. They're not going to be able to take their eyes from it. And deep inside, they're going to feel, maybe I should just get over myself. Maybe I should just get over how much I really do suck and get on the flip side.
I heard you mention Einar Kusk, and the thing is, he's in Estonia, and he said he wasn't going to make it unless he got his cameraman with him. And it was going to be like a $5,000 thing, and then at the end, we got someone offered $5,000, and he turned it down.
Why? That's crazy. Let me see, Estonia to Denver.
$600 tickets round trip, from what I understand. $600 or something like that per person. So it would have been like $1,200. Then you got hotels and everything else, but you know, he said he wouldn't do it for less than $5,000.
Flights Estonia to Denver, I'm seeing 1,000, but it's flights that, you know, the prices are weird, but still,
like 2 weeks ago, I was trying to get his tickets for him 2 weeks ago. Yeah, self checkout. Like a couple of weeks ago when I was over at trying to get a hold of him, you know, I was looking at tickets. I was like, hey, I got him for $600 a piece, and he said if I can get his ticket, sure. And then he kept on kind of indicating he wasn't sure about it. Anyway, I did find someone willing to spot his whole flight and pay for him. They offered him $5,000 up front, and he said it's not really about the money. It's just that he says he needs a break to make sure that he feels like he's going to produce the best work or whatever. So I'm like, all right, whatever. As long as we get a plate at FEMA camp, I'm cool.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, I don't know what he's about. I don't know. I don't know what he's like, what his goal is, or what. I don't know. The first time I saw anything of any content of his, it was for a pretty legit looking called Finding the Curve or something like that. And I liked it because it looked real. It looked like a real movie. It had film grain. It had that, like the like TV line, scan line. That's what we were talking about before. The difference between like a soap opera or like that live kind of feel.
Yeah, you're right. The right frames per minute. It's one of them looks one of them looks kind of surreal, and then the other looks like you're actually seeing reality. And he filmed it reality, which is why we are. I don't know if you caught up with Finding the Edge. .earth. If you go to that domain, it explains what it is. But I brought up this idea of like, let's do a reality TV show, Finding the Edge, where it's just basically a lot of live streams that we condense into an episode once a week, and all the people who are part of it work out how they're going to find their way over the edge, get funding, what the plan is, and it'll be a reality TV show that's crowd-funded, crowd-produced, crowd-directed, because it'll be directed by the people in the chat along with the stars of the show themselves.
There's a Finding the Edge. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no. I'm thinking, though, is that, like, let's say you have 12 episodes. Episode 1, you know, you're getting a little intro of the different people talking about the concept broadly. By episode 6, we've got a plan, and they're going to go meet up in person. By the end of the season, we'll get some kind of an answer. But there'll be like a weekly episode condensed or distilled out of all the live streams from the different contestants or stars, whatever you want to call them.
It would be cool if YouTube would pick it up and make it like a PewDiePie kind of thing.
Yeah.
The only thing I fear from that would be it would come and go. You know, it would be like climactic, and then it would die down. Because if the ultimate goal is to get mainstream attention, then we kind of don't want mainstream attention, because that could be a climactic event where everyone's like, oh, okay, now we can go home now, sort of thing. Or maybe that's just me.
Well, the thing I'm thinking is that we're taking the medium of or the style of reality TV and actually trying to discern reality with it, which is like the first time it's ever been done, I think. Like
yeah, that's above
like and so I'm kind of looking at it this way. It's like, let's say you wanted to do a live stream show about starting a business or starting anything. The content creates itself. We don't have to do any advanced writing. We just need a basic outline and plan. And I've heard so many people say, why don't you guys go to the edge? Has anybody checked the edge? Well, here's the answer. Go to findingtheedge.earth. We have a TV show you can watch. And some people will watch it because they want to see it fail. Others will be watching it because they're just trolls. But whatever the case, it's not just for flat earthers. It'd be for anybody who wants to see this, what they believe is probably going to be a train wreck.
Yeah.
I got trolled the other day. It's not fun.
You got what?
Trolled the other day. It's not fun.
How?
Oh, this one guy from work, he knows I'm a flatty and he follows me. He subscribed to my channel and everything. Like, I don't know, it just bothers me. Anyway, that's me though. That's my stuff. Everybody has their stuff. Even if you're the most good-looking person on this earth, you still have your stuff. You know?
Yeah. You know, there's one show that comes to mind. It was a Ben Stein movie. Ben Stein did a movie. Let me see what it was. It was called Ben Stein.
See, in a way, the vibe, the like the mockumentary vibe, might be something. Not that we're mocking anything, but like here's the thing that Issa came up with yesterday. He was like, okay, he's like, we're gonna have the produced episodes every Friday night, but the Monday through Thursday, the streams, those are going to be private except for the co-producers, those who are actually steering the thing. And to become a co-producer, you just have to donate like $1 to Kickstarter and be on the site when they're live and just interact. But the idea here is that he was like, let's say that Issa was in it and you were in it, and we'll say I don't know, just someone random, like we'll go with who's a random YouTuber? CTA. That you wouldn't have to even use your real names. Like you could be Bob, like starring Bob, and you could be a totally different person. It doesn't matter because it's just like we're still going to be answering the same questions and everything, but we could actually produce it in a way to make it look a little like make it look more like it look contrived, perhaps.
Yeah.
But yeah, the movie I was thinking of, by the way, was Ben Stein. It was Expelled, No Intelligence Allowed, and it was about him visiting all different. Here's the description. Commentator Ben Stein poses the argument that intelligent design and evolution are both valid scientific explanations for the development of life on Earth, and that institutions that don't embrace both views are guilty of stifling academic freedom. Stein makes the case through film clips, interviews with creationists and scientists, and his own acerbic observations, including the opinion that Darwin's theory of evolution is partially responsible for the Holocaust. So he goes across country to, and you see him like in the airport, getting on a plane, and you know, you feel out the story lines and what he's actually doing. And he visits teachers, he visits physicists,
right?
All different people of all different walks of life. And
I
asks
remember
him the
that.
question, sits down with him.
Yeah.
And then
well,
he sits down with
you know,
Richard Dawkins.
Yeah, I remember that. He had an interview with Dawkins. That's classic. I had to rewatch that. Because what we're
kind of, I hate to say destroy, but he destroys them.
Okay, guys, see you later.
You leaving, Chanel?
I am.
See you later. See you in Denver.
Hey.
Yeah.
All
Hey,
right, bye guys.
check it out. Hang out and hang out in the chat, or I'll see you next week. Well, I'll see you next week.
Well, you're right about this. Like with the finding the edge. Like on one episode, you might have somebody actually talking to someone, at a planetarium, or talking to someone about the North Pole in a position to actually answer questions. So we're going to find out we're going to have like a juxtaposition where people are going to see what they're told and then what is. So, like for example, people are under the assumption that there's been circumnavigation north-south. They just assume it's been done, and when they find out it hasn't, part of it might even be someone from on one of the episodes could actually go to a dinosaur museum. I mean, we could use this as a vehicle. Once we get the more viewers behind it, the more we can insert all these different subversive ideas like bubbles in space, and all along the way just to get to the edge. And all the conversations leading up to it, all the debates, that's all just content. It's all filler. That is really the point overall. Because whether they make it to the edge or not, if you can get a bunch of people watching it for several episodes, it's already a win as far as influencing, or rather culture jamming, infiltrating these ideas.
Yeah, I like. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I missed the beginning part, I think, where IPS was explaining exactly what this idea is, but I think I get the gist of it. Have any of you watched Stranger Things too?
Yeah, I watched the whole series.
That Netflix series. I mean, this isn't a spoiler or anything, but this is really, I think it falls into what might be being talked about here. Is there's a scene in there where a couple of the kids are trying to expose something that's going on, and they go to this kind of fringe reporter guy, and they give him this evidence. They have hard-hitting evidence, and the guy's like, yeah, the evidence is great, but it's not going to work because it's so far out there that people will just simply wait for an authority figure to say it's nonsense so they can dismiss it because it's easier. And then he has this, he's drinking vodka, like this vodka drink, and he like makes his face like it's too strong. And then he has this idea, and he goes and he gets something to mix it with, to water it down with. He's like, this is what you need to do with your story. You need to put it in a framework that people can accept. And it's still going to achieve the goal that you want. It's going to expose this thing that's going on. It's not going to be the exact truth, but it's going to have the same impact. And I think if we can't lead with flat Earth in mainstream. Do you know what I'm saying?
Did you say lead?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
If you want to make an impact, let's say, why don't we choose something like, let's expose NASA's fraudulent footage of on the ISS and outer space. We don't have to say that outer space is fake. We don't have to give that context of the Earth being flat. But if we can present the evidence that NASA is showing fraudulent footage and faking that and put that in a context of the money being wasted, the taxpayer money being wasted on it. This is ground that people can stand on, even someone who's completely unaware of the rest of it. So we're making it okay for them to get behind it and understand it, and it will have that impact that we want. It's a step in the right direction. You see what I'm saying?
I think
you have to water down the story a little.
Our world isn't what we've been told it is. When we keep the word flat out of it, because that's a trigger word, I think. Flat Earth is a trigger word that a lot of people will go, oh, I know what this is about, forget it. But if you lead into it and lead some, you know, it seems like nuance has been forgotten about with movies and music, especially. Like, I like the flat Earth music. I'm all for it, but I also like music where you find out about what a song meant after the fact, like a year later.
Yeah, it's like got powerful subtext.
Yeah, that's what that song was about. Holy shit, I never knew that. And if
we probably need to get a lot better at subtext with what the content we create. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, instead of saying like it's a flat Earth song right in the title, or
well, yeah, if you're gonna come out and with a giant club and bash people over the head, they're probably not gonna like it a lot.
Mm-hmm. Right,
you
but
know?
if you show them a club and then, you know,
I hear people make the case that maybe we ought to soft sell it, euphemize it, whatever. And I understand there are different approaches for different contexts, but my particular approach has been full on all caps flat, because it was the word flat that got most people that I know into it. It wasn't like someone said, hey Tim, somebody's stealing some money over there at NASA. It's like, shrug, what's new? Government malfeasance. That's all. Every government dollar is basically stolen. So to me, it was a non-issue. But when I heard flat, I was like, what the, you know?
I think that should absolutely keep going. That has to keep going on. We absolutely have to keep.
But we do need the nuance, right? We do need.
I think let's say, like Louis Lewis and I, he's the editor of Flat Revival magazine. We're working on putting together a journalistic piece that we can submit all over to publications all over, small, doesn't matter, but something that frames the NASA fraud in a context that a publisher might be willing to jump into, to present to people, because it's not going to talk about outer space being fake. It's not going to try to convince people that the Earth is flat. It's just going to try and convince people that NASA is presenting fraudulent material. And why are they doing that? And that's money being wasted that could be used. Like, if you figure out the $50 million a day thing, that's $365 million per state a year.
Yeah, the issue, though, I see here is that, and this is the problem with in the 2016 election, is you have people, this anti-statist, limited government mindset, trying to convince people of the problem with these big institutions. And the thing is that when you get into numbers, and it doesn't have the emotional resonance. And I think also the idea that we should be seeking mainstream approval needs to be rewritten, because the mainstream media is dead. It's a dinosaur. It's dying. And I think we just need to focus on getting the information out into the alternative media. Like, I think finding the edge or finding the curve or flat Earth music popular on Discord servers, on YouTube, not even asking for mainstream permission. I think that's the key. We have to create an entire alternative, because like, I don't think of it as we're competing with like two different interchangeable views. I think one is just factually wrong and one is reality based, and that's all we need to do. Is like I don't think we need to package things in a way to be acceptable to the masses. The masses need to start thinking so that they can be acceptable so that they can actually
but how
see reality.
But
I see where I think you're going with that. That lends credibility.
I agree too.
If it sits here full on in full effect, then when people do get around, because it's not a matter of politics or anything other than or good versus evil. It's a matter of people who are awake and people who aren't awake, because people are inherently good, and all you have to do is wake them up. This is like why I say if people could be honest with themselves, everything will follow. The world will change overnight if people could become honest with themselves, because we're inherently good. People will only want the best for themselves, so they'll only do good things for themselves, and in turn do good things and respect each other's freedoms, because that's what they want. Everyone's going to do exactly what they want. But in terms of movies and this kind of approach, like an entertainment approach, people want to be transported by stories and at the same time entertained by characters.
Sure.
But now, as far as presentation, we want to be on par with what they're producing, obviously, with production value.
Right.
Yeah, that's a big thing, right? You know,
have you
that's
guys
a big
noticed,
thing.
even if the media came out tomorrow and said the Earth was flat, no one would notice, because that's how bad the situation is. That's how infected people are with dumbness. Which I call it dumb. Like, they still wouldn't make a difference, and that's fucking scary. Like, what frightens the powers that be is people changing the way they think, not what they think about, because that's what they did. We could use their tactics against them. They don't tell us what to think; they tell us how to think, and it's obedience to authority, which is, to me, the biggest problem.
Right.
Because they're going to run. They're going to say, "Well, is this true or not? Well, let me go to the authority figure and see what they're saying, or the consensus." But consensus cannot make something true cannot trump fiction just by saying it's fact. You know, water boils at 212 degrees. That's it. That water boils at 200. No one's gonna. If everyone, the entire population of New Jersey said no, it's 100 degrees, it's not going to change it. But they may say, hey, just get used to it because it is boiling, and it's like, no, it isn't. You know, the world you live on is what you see it as. You cannot show me anything other than what we see, and I'm sorry, but it's flat. It's flat everywhere. Get used to it. You've been fooled. You've been fooled, and you also just haven't looked. See, it's that thing about being deceived that really bothers people. They take it as an insult to their intelligence. Like, what do you mean? No one's going to get one over on me. No, it can't be. And they need to be, like, in private or something. They need to be at home to, like, have this realization.
Yeah, you know, there's that argument about, like, people use about planes not dipping and how the gyroscope shows that they don't account for curvature when they're flying.
Yeah.
And the idea is that the gyroscope isn't oriented towards, like, the center of the Earth, and it's not, like, adjusting with gravity. It's level in space. And that concept, I think, can be understood and grasped by any kid with a fidget spinner. I picked one up yesterday, and I'm sitting here spinning this thing. I'm like, wait a minute. These things, like, you look at them and they're just trinkets or whatever, but I see this as because here's the thing. I found fidget spinners. You can buy them in bulk, $3, and you customize it. You put a flat Earth map on it. So imagine this. If I do a video here showing the principle of gyroscopes and how it contradicts a curved ball Earth on the context of, you know, airplane flight, I could explain that concept with a fidget spinner and make it say in the title, you know, fidget spinners prove flat Earth. And I think that concept might be a way to insert flat Earth into all the fidget spinner people, way out of the box. And so I'm just thinking, like, any sort of, like, there's no better way to get ideas out to the mass than through the free market. You know, because it's different when the state tells you what to think. You want to reject it, you may not reject it. You don't have a choice. You don't have to believe it, but you got to pretend. But when it's in the free market, you're voluntarily associated.
I love
with
it.
that
It's a great idea. That's a really cool idea. I mean, I think that I don't think that there needs to be one approach to any of this. I think the more prongs we create, and the different methods we can use, because you can be sure that method used against us to get humanity to the state it's in, it's been multi-pronged, you know. So
fight fire with fire.
We should be
fight fire with fire. If they're going to give your kids dinosaur toys and alien toys, well, we're going to reach out to those same kids with flat Earth toys. You know, figure, like, for example, like I said, I was like, if this fidget spinner video, let's say hypothetically I make it right now. I already drafted it, but let's say I uploaded this video and it's a fidget spinner proves flat Earth, and a bunch of fidget spinner aficionados get into it or they watch it. Right below, we'll have a link to, well, I might even do this. I'm not sure, but we'll figure it out later. But anyway, I'm thinking that even if it doesn't prove it, it'll get the conversation going. And I think that if you play with one of these fidget spinners or a gyroscope, and you can get a kinesthetic grasp of what it means that a plane isn't accounting for curve, it kills the globe right there.
Yeah, it's a big one. It's always struck them. I can't remember how long ago it was when I first hit the gyroscope thing, but it was like, man, it's a done deal. How do you argue this? You know, you can't argue against this. Even if you set up even if you set up a gyroscope on a picnic table, have it run for 24 hours, the gyroscope should account for the spin of the Earth, but it doesn't move. You know, it's plain as day.
Right, and the idea that it's like minutely adjusting, it's like, no, the thing that's keeping it in place is its movement, and the centrifugal force has nothing to do with gravitational pull. And so it just
yeah,
crossed my
even
mind
the makers of it say that gravity doesn't affect the gyroscope. I mean, that's
Exactly.
accepted by mainstream thinking.
So I'm going to have like a 5-minute little breakdown of it where I'm just talking while in my hand I'm holding a spinning fidget spinner. That's it.
Yeah,
And then
nice.
I did find a supplier that will do custom fidget spinners. So I'm getting one made with an AE map on it, and I'll be like, link below, be like, $10 or whatever. And I might even just buy some fidget spinners with flat Earth maps and just give them out at dirt cheap. Like I can
Yeah.
sell them through eBay, buy it now, 99 cents free shipping. Also, I could move 100 a day with just like an investment of like $1 loss per. Not a big deal if you're thinking about getting 100 flat Earth fidget spinners to 100 kids. And each of these fidget spinners that you send will come with a written explanation of why it proves flat Earth. That's the kind of subversion I'm thinking of. It's where it's done at the level of the culture, and it's done at the level, and you hit them at the consumers. You have them buy your propaganda. We're not trying to shove it in their face like, here's a flat Earth map. It's more like you want them to be intrigued by it, so that whatever it is you're selling, they're buying it. Same with music, same with art, but I'm looking at other products, and I happen to think that if we look into things like this, we might find ways that they can't stop it. What happens if that idea of fidget spinner and flat Earth become intertwined? It's fucked.
That's I really like that approach. Is powerful because, yeah, if you can attach these ideas to something that's just, it's so huge. I don't know why fidget spinners have become so huge. I don't really get that, but it doesn't matter why. If you can leverage it, if you can figure out a way to connect it to these ideas, then yeah, that's powerful.
Yeah, it seems like somebody has done something. If you search flat Earth fidget spinners, there's some images of like almost like blue, green, and white, and then someone made one. That's pretty cool. It's got a little flat Earth in the middle.
How many hits?
Glowfuckyourself.com.
Well, yeah, there you go.
Yeah, that's really fucking cool. Let me share my screen. I'll show you guys.
Yeah, and the thing is, I'm gonna probably custom I'll look at what's out there, but I'm gonna tailor make a video, and I'm gonna release it during a live stream on Discord, and try to get it shared. Like I'm gonna try to force. Okay, here we go. Go ahead.
You see it?
Nice. That's beautiful.
Let's see what it looks like. $15. Get woke.
There we go.
Okay, well, I found a company that'll do them for $3 each if you get them in bulk for $300. And
Not
so you're
bad.
looking at a $1,000 investment. But if you do them, if you're selling them at $10 a piece and you're taking pre-orders for a week, it's very achievable. And so that's kind of what I'm not doing it necessarily as a money-making operation, but if I can pull in enough and draw in enough of a profit to make it feasible to distribute several hundred of these things for free, without any cost on my end, I'll do it.
Well, sure. If you can get it started and it's self-sustaining, you could just keep it going on an endless loop kind of thing.
I think I can make it happen.
No, you didn't. Somebody made butt plugs. True Earth butt plug. It's a silicone one. That's checkmate, globetards. Now you can shove the flat Earth theory right up your ass.
No way.
Holy shit.
Hey, I'm going to be listening. I've got to be
I am now
away from
300% more woke.
Unbelievable.
That's fucking funny as hell. This is new.
That's a way to stop the bullshit, I guess.
There you go.
Wow.
Stop the bullshit with the butt plug. And
unbelievable.
Butt plug.
Wow.
Anal focus toy. Anal focus. Get your ass to finally focus. Focus.
Well, this went somewhere different fast. Wow.
Holy shit! I can't believe somebody made that. And it looks real. It's not like a digital. Like.
Yeah. I guess if it can be imagined, it's out there. That's the incredible thing about this time we live in, you know. Even when you're certain you've had an original thought. Like when I first started conceiving of doing the magazine, I'm like, oh man, I'm just gonna call it Flat Magazine. How easy is that? Nobody's using that. There were two things using it. So it's just they had nothing to do with flat Earth, of course, but it's just the internet is so saturated with everything. Unbelievable.
Yeah, a lot of these models that people have with the sun and the moon floating around, the problem with these is they make them too big. And I know that they're doing it just for illustration. It's not like to scale sort of thing. But even when people have like,
yeah,
this is cool, actually. That's cool. We should make a snow globe out of it. I think somebody did make snow globes.
That would make sense.
That's really nice, actually. That's a really nice wall clock. Did a good job on the banding. But every model, like the image with let me find one. Flat Earth image. Okay, this one, for instance, too big. Like they have to be tiny.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, flat Earth right now is, and it's been kind of growing and boiling for a while, but there's obviously some major issues with, infighting about models and maps, and I understand the importance of trying to solidify some kind of map or visual representation that people can wrap their brain around, but I mean,
I know where you're going.
We're not gonna have an accurate map.
Yeah, no,
until we map it ourselves.
Soon. Yeah.
The only information we have to draw from is from the opposition, really. I mean, how do you think that's going to get you to reality? I don't think that it can.
The fact that the maps that are used today look like this, how is this reality? But people just use it as a reference. No one really knows what the Earth looks like.
Right. So it's a useful symbol. It's a useful visual representation. We need something that is a visual cue. That means flat Earth. But that doesn't mean people are like, oh, you're using that? Man, you're disinfo. Like, well, no, it's just a symbol. It's a symbol of an idea. It doesn't mean that's the absolute of it. We need some kind of visual representation.
This was a heavy this kind of sold me when I started looking into high altitude balloon photography. I was like, okay, like there's no other way to see the world except how it looks in reality.
Right.
No one's going to tell me, and this is my argument that I always say, the globe exists on screen and on paper. Nowhere else, just on screen and just on paper. It'll never exist in reality. You'll never see Earth as a ball in reality from your own eyes. It'll never happen.
Yeah.
And that there really is something up there. I think. Lately I've just been feeling like there's, when you can feel the size of the room that you're in, because you feel like you're claustrophobic or this room's really small, but you don't need to inspect the entire ceiling. But you have a good feeling that you have around it, like an estimate of its size. You can just sense it in a way. I get that when I'm outside underneath like the night sky, especially when it's quiet, like 3 a.m., 4 a.m. If I take my dog out, I can feel like it feels like there's something up there, like something dark.
Right. Yeah.
Like a black sheet And maybe it's just like a viscous fluid, like a gel, a gelatinous kind of thing.
Sure.
And on the other side of it is just blazing light. And what we see as stars are just holes, somehow the light making its way through. Like
exactly. Well, it couldn't be more obvious that whatever this thing that's moving above us at night, it's clearly interconnected. It's one big piece of something.
Yeah.
It all moves together
Yeah.
perfectly. You know, and that's and in a nice fluid motion. You know, if we had like, they're trying to tell us what do we have supposedly in their goofy model, like 3 or 4 different insane motions happening at once. You know, you got the spin of the Earth, you got the orbit of the Earth around the sun, you got the whole thing moving at some ridiculous speed. You know, that's 3 different, completely separate motions happening. How are you going to get a smooth motion of anything in the sky with that going on? It's ridiculous.
Here's a cool webpage. Atlantis map.
The weather pattern thing is always interesting too.
Yeah.
How much sense like the weather patterns make on a flat Earth.
Yeah, they have some really old maps in here. These are new. Atlantis. Land beyond the pillars. Hang on one sec. Okay.
But yeah, I hear what you're saying, man. That feeling you can. It's so different than it used to be when I look up at night. And it's been a while since I've been outside of. I mean, I live in a fairly small city, but still, there's so much light pollution that I haven't seen the stars outside of that context for a little while now. And I should. I need to get out in the middle of nowhere and look up at that thing. Because I grew up with that, but since becoming a flat earther, I don't know that I've seen the stars without all the light pollution. But yeah, you can feel it, that it's just not, it's not at all what they're trying to convince us it is. And you can feel that, like you said, just like being in a room. The difference between being in a warehouse or a small room, you can feel that.
And I've been theorizing that maybe if it were a dark sheet, for lack of any other idea of what it could be, if it's actually a current, like the way water moves, if it's something that's spinning or has a current, like a flow to it, kind of like the jet streams do, then, and if there's a light behind it, if it's just what a lot of near-death experiencers have experienced, just like sheer golden, beautiful light. And you've heard this story before. It's just the brightest light they've ever seen, blinding, effervescent chrome light. If it's that behind it, then any kind of holes or opening are going to look to us like stars.
Sure.
Or, you know, the sun and the moon can either be on this side or that side. You know, they could be static. See, that's what I was thinking about last night. If they're static and this blockage moves,
right,
then
there's only one light source.
right,
It doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be thousands or however many points there are. It's just one light source coming through a pattern.
The other day, I realized that the sunset and the sunrise is perpetual, and that it's always setting and it's always rising. It all depends on where you are.
Sure.
So my sun right now is a setting sun for the people behind me, and for the people in front of me, it's a rising sun. That's crazy.
Yeah. Well, and it's
the sun doesn't set, and it doesn't rise. It just goes. It just moves.
And you begin to. Well, I've been thinking about this a lot lately. I can't remember what set it off exactly, but this kind of realization that this is a very, from your perspective, you know, your experience of life, it does, everything is, you are kind of the center of everything from your perspective.
Yeah.
And there are things that really do suggest this. You know, there are things you can look at. One of the things was that I always go back to when I think about this is, you know, if you're standing at the beach and the sunlight is coming across the water to your feet, from your perspective, that's what it looks like. And you could look, there could be someone 100 yards away and you look over to them and the sunlight isn't going to their feet, right? It's coming to your feet. But from their perspective, that sunlight is coming to their feet. And that when I think about that, it's hard for me to wrap my brain around it, because shouldn't the light just be where the light is? But it changes from each person's perspective, which means that somehow each individual is experiencing existence at kind of the center of this thing. Does that make sense?
Yeah, this is your world.
Yeah, which is
your
powerful.
World. And that's I've been saying, no, not to be, I've been saying it forever. I've been saying something like that for the longest time, that it's just your world that I'm in, whereas it's my world that you're in, and we're all simultaneously experiencing or conscious of this thing. But as far as you're concerned, when I close my eyes, everything goes away. When I go to sleep, everything goes away. You know, the world ends when I die. So the world ends every day. And some may look at it like we're living and dying at however many breaths we take a day, because the last thing you do when you die is breathe out. The first thing you do when you're born is you breathe in.
Yeah, I enjoy thinking about things like that. You know, it's not
the middle point of that, you know, in between breaths is the creator. Is creator, I should say, not the creator. And what does a creator do? Creator creates, or else it wouldn't be the creator. That's all it knows how to do.
Yeah.
That everything else is just kind of stuff people have made up.
There's a lot of that.
Yeah, you can either look at the world around you and explain it and try to understand it, or you can just experience. Like, we have an option. We have a lot of options here. You know, people can do whatever they want in life. I can do whatever I want in my life. Anything I want, whenever. But there will be consequences from other people's worlds when it clashes.
Right. Yeah. I don't know. I go ahead.
The top down perspective that we look at when we view navigation screens has made us take for granted the fact that has given us a false sense of security, a false sense of where we are, because that's not an accurate depiction. And I can prove that because if you're looking down, let's say you're trying to get directions to somewhere, and you zoom out and zoom back in, that's not a direct reflection of what skydiving from an airplane looks like.
Mm.
And just as I was driving past Manhattan skyline from, I would say maybe about 3 or 4 miles, I was on an elevated stretch of a highway, and I was looking at the buildings in the foreground and the skyline. Skyline was static. Well, everything was static, really. But me, I was traveling southbound, looking on my left, seeing how quickly the buildings that are close to me pass, like the parallax, in other words.
Yeah.
The buildings in the background. It's like it's so hard to replicate that exactly. But that experience that I was having, it can't be matched by any kind of digital media.
No.
You have to, it's whatever you see in your peripheral vision. I was thinking of doing an experiment where you take a person and you would need like either like a crane or some kind of ladder, or maybe the side of a building. But if you were to dangle something, like have a line and drop, I don't know, whatever, some kind of object, a globe, for instance, and I look out and I tell you when I can see it in my peripheral vision without moving my eyes, but keeping my eyes straight ahead, you could actually figure out what we can see and what we can't see. So if the person moves forward, if the person is 10 feet in front of you and 10 feet up, they can lift the object up a little bit, and then I could tell them, okay, stop right there, and you can make a marker. You could put up like a pole or something, and that'll be, I don't know, maybe 15 feet, and then they can move out another 20 feet, and then do the same thing again, and we would get kind of like that conical kind
of course,
image of what we can see and what we can't see. I guess it would just be more exact.
Sure. Well,
but everything does.
And I think this is, you would think it would be really easy to explain to people perspective. And I think most people do understand perspective, and I'm talking about people who aren't. They still believe that they're on a spinning ball. They understand how perspective works generally. But when you start trying to talk to them about it in the terms of the sun and moon and these other objects, I guess it's the conflict of what they've been taught that won't allow them to accept that the same exact limitations of our vision and how we see things is at play. Somehow it breaks out of that for them, which is so bizarre. You know what I mean? That they can't connect it. They can understand that jet they just watched fly overhead is only appearing to disappear into the horizon. That's right. They can fully understand that and will agree with you. But then you tell them that the sun is doing the same thing, and there's a barrier there. It's an invisible wall that they can't break through. And that could be because the implications are too big. They'd have to accept, their worldview would have to change. And it is a lot to ask of people.
Take, for instance, okay, you see Google Earth?
Yep.
All right, let me back out. This, when we go over where, oh God, this couldn't get any faker. That happens is a transitional point where it all kind of dissolves and a new image is formed. We go over New York. Right about there.
Yeah.
Right about there, everything, like this to me is false. And then once you get to...
You're right. I see what you're saying. I understand what you're saying now.
that layer of that layer that just popped in. Right about, I'd say maybe about there. But as you move out, this isn't real. Right there. That's
no, and right.
That's not what. Yeah, if you were this, like, this isn't an accurate depiction of, I don't know, 10,000 feet.
Right.
It isn't because of this bar here, because of the framing around it.
Yeah, it can't be, obviously. I mean, I haven't been up in a hot air balloon myself, but all the descriptions I've heard is people say it feels like they're in a fishbowl when they're up there. And this is giving a false.
In a hot air balloon?
Yeah. Yeah, in a hot air balloon. It's like they're in a fishbowl, which, on a ball doesn't make any sense at all. So I see what you're saying with this top-down version of reality they're presenting. It gives it a false sense of something.
Yeah, all this color, we wouldn't have all this white, all this green. It would just be like brown and gray as you went up. None of this, none of the colors are right. And look at this. It looks like curvature right here that nobody ever experiences. Wrong. It's all bent.
The ingenuity of it is would be impressive.
Because if you look out at, let me show the borders. Okay, this to this is like 50 miles or 40 miles. So they're telling me that I'm 40 miles up. What? 15 miles up from one of those hot air balloons. This is 40. Yeah. So if you were to stand it, like take it, peel it up like this,
right,
and stand it up on its side, I would be 40 miles up in the air, and I should see a whole hell of a lot more than this.
Yeah.
But even from 20 miles up, we don't see much.
They have to start distorting it. Way early to create the smooth, the sense of some kind of smooth transition from high to, yeah, they're messing with it, and they're messing with it a lot lower than you think. Yeah, that's interesting, man.
This guy's got some pretty good footage, I think. But I think he uses he uses GoPros. But I should go to cloud surfing. Cloud surfing is a guy who films his flights. I don't know how he gets access to like the front of the airplane, like to get this kind of shot.
Yeah.
In particular, I think it's LA to Frankfurt. So how do you get into this one cockpit? God, you won't catch me dead with a selfie stick. Make you look like a weenie holding that thing. Frankfurt is the best.
What are we supposed to be seeing right now?
Do you have the screen? Is the screen up?
I see Google Earth still.
Oh, okay. So maybe I didn't switch it. Okay, start that over again.
There we go. Wow.
I haven't seen this though. This is the solar eclipse Lufthansa A380 flight.
Nice.
Let me find his Frankfurt. I think
Now,
he's
who is this guy doing this? Okay.
That's the
Is it a
YouTube
commercial?
channel. I
Is he
think it's
just
just a
taking
guy
like?
who gets.
I see.
He just gets access
Nice.
to the front of the plane or to wherever he gets to mount his cameras. It shows, there it is. It shows the sun set and rise. It's amazing. And there's a little map too to show you where he is on the Earth. Okay.
And now this guy, he's not approaching this from a flat Earth perspective, right?
No, he's just the guy who wants to from an airplane.
Right.
I think I left him a few comments, flat Earth comments.
Yeah, I think I remember when a few of these videos hit a while back. This was probably a couple of years ago.
Yeah, somebody had this clip on, but they didn't show the map. You know, okay. Now he's here. He's in Quebec, and the camera perspective is from the front of the plane. So the sun should be up here or over here.
Right.
See, we're seeing the tail end of it. So the sun has already gone around the circle like this. You could picture a circle like this. The sun would probably be off my screen a little bit. And now it would be, now it's almost gone. See that right there? That's crazy.
Yeah.
And I think the sun came over this way, overhead, like this. And now
That's wild.
And now it's coming. If you can see my mouse.
Yeah.
And it's coming around like this, and it's going to come back around. See that? He's flying. He's flying this way, and it's starting to appear up here somewhere. That's nuts. This part, the darkness and the light.
Yeah. That's something else.
And now it's gone completely around the circle. So the sun must be doing like 1,000 miles an hour.
What?
All over the place. Chemtrails all over the fucking place. Never fails.
Oh yeah, it's insane. They're making sure they get them in movies now too. They're just part of the different types of clouds now. I mean, they're even teaching them in schools, right, as cloud types.
I know. This stupid name. See, look at the way those natural clouds form. You can see that.
Yeah.
Look up here. Is that one right there? This little guy? Did you see that? I'll write it back.
Yeah.
And this is right around here. It shows you how a cloud forms. Right here.
There it is.
See, that one just puffed right out of thin air. Slow it down for a second. I never saw that. Yeah. Right up here.
Yeah, and I think another one right to the left of it just popped. There it is.
Bam, right
Boom.
there.
Where was the plane? I mean,
crazy.
how does a cloud get made without a plane, dude? The kids today would be confused by that.
That's so nuts how that happens.
It's nice.
It looked like there was something shooting it like a, like it came out of something right there.
It's a powerful video. The whole thing. It's nice. I'm gonna make sure I go bookmark that and check out more of it.
Yeah, I watched a bunch of his other videos and nothing, both the sunset and a sunrise in it.
Right, but I mean, almost all of it is stunningly a flat Earth.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't. It's just so apparent, and it's so clear how close the sun is.
It doesn't go anywhere. The sun doesn't go anywhere. It's just right. It's right there above us.
It's right there. It couldn't be more plain, man. That's nice.
Good.
Well, and I almost like that it's not someone that's even discussing flat Earth. He's just presenting reality.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm not saying that would be bad if he was, but it just, there's something almost, if you wanted to send this to people, it's not gonna, they're not gonna get bombarded with like a bunch of flat Earth text or information right out of the gate. You could send someone to just, hey, look at this beautiful stuff. And then it's a conversation starter about it, you know. I think sometimes we tend to front load too much.
Yeah.
You know, if we're trying to reach people genuinely, people that are not aware of this stuff, it's just there's a process, and I think we should be a little more have a little more empathy about where people are at in their own.
There's some fundamentals to smacking people, and that you got to know your audience. You got to know your audience, who you're talking to, and understand that have to be in place. Like if they're a police officer, they're not going to get the government lying to them. The government wants nothing to do with you. But if there's someone who understands how an individual, how that understands people and how people can be, and they get the idea that politicians are people just like us.
Right.
And how things can go wrong. Maybe they'll get it.
And I've been thinking a lot about this. You know, the internet is this awesome, powerful thing. It's why FEMA Camp is so cool. I mean, I think stepping outside and doing something locally is something we all probably should do a lot more of. There's so even the people working in politics at the local level and the city councils, they're still reachable. You know, they're not completely lost to it yet. And I think there's so much we could be doing locally outside our doors if we could form small groups and get out there on the local level. I think it would do a lot for us.
And there's also a lot more credibility in an idea when it's in place, as opposed to someone forcing it on someone. Whereas if the subject matter is whether or not it's going to be daylight or something in, I don't know, another state, and you're talking to someone about a flight they're going to take, and you slip in there. Well, I mean, the Earth being flat, so it's probably going to be like 2 o'clock in Nevada. And what did you say?
Right.
You know, just slip it in, like, because it's in my world. It's part of my world.
Yeah, I agree.
Say,
I hear what you're saying.
What does it matter? Just ask them, does your reality matter? Like, what does it even matter? Well, does your reality? Because that's why it matters.
Yeah, I fully think that what does it matter is a defense mechanism. That's a defensive stance that of someone who is feeling threatened by something. Because they know why it would matter, but that's just a response that can sidestep the whole conversation.
One thing that doesn't help Flat Earth is the conspiratorialism that goes alongside it when it's lumped into categories with other things. Like, for instance, these videos that are coming out about the California forest fires and all that.
Yes.
Yeah, things look fishy, but let's not jump to conclusions. Let's not say, I got 100% proof it's directed energy weapons.
Right.
It's like, now you're lying. Now you're lying and you're not being honest. And if you're someone who appreciates the truth and that's what you're really searching for, you can't go ahead and say you got 100% proof, because you don't. You think it's directed energy weapons, whatever those are, something no one's ever seen before. You can't make leaps like that. You got to, and the endeavor becomes a little more boring, a little less exciting, but that's what I think the truth is. Truth seeking is. It's going and looking at books, looking through paper, looking through mounds of research,
right,
and getting to the bottom of something. It's not about exciting YouTube videos or people jumping the guns. And people will say, "Oh yeah, look, directed energy weapons. Yep, knew it. I knew it." That's confirmation bias, right?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Richie from Boston will say something about it, and then the whole world believes it. It dictates your truth for you. You got problems.
Yeah.
No one's going to tell me anything is anything unless I see it. And people need to step away from that shit because it's terrible. It's really 100% proof of the flat Earth. No, you don't have 100% proof. It's flat without that. All these statements, it's just for YouTube. It's clickbait.
Sure, of course, and that's. I mean, we know that's how it's going to work. That's how the platform's set up. So it's going to play to that, obviously. I think
the Illuminati. There was a good conversation I'd heard where someone said, if you say the word Illuminati in your presentation, all bets are off. No one's taking you seriously. Everybody just left the room. So don't. So word to the wise, don't say the word Illuminati.
Exactly.
I kind of stick to that one. Stick to that ethos.
I've never used it. I think
it was set up there. It was set up there to do just that, to make people look stupid.
Well, that's why it's in every music video that exists. At a mainstream, I mean, how much more obvious and cartoony can they push this onto people to make them talk about it? I mean, it can't get more blatant. It's in everything like that, all the pop culture stuff. So
and that's good. And the problem is,
it's not like people are discovering something that's secret and hidden. Is what I'm saying. It's right in front of everything you watch all the time. This isn't some big secret thing. They're intentionally pushing that direction, pushing you there. So yeah, for the exact reason you're saying is that then when you talk about it, you attach it to, you might have a great piece of flat earth evidence or something really poignant to show, but it's attached to this other stuff. And so it takes away its power.
Must watch They Do Not Want You to Hear This. Robots with Human Rights. Watch for the next 9/11 event. Like, what? Can't we just live in peace?
Yeah.
You know? Or this one, I think I saw this the other day. Someone filmed something. It looks like an airplane going in front of Saturn.
Right.
And I don't even want to hear what he has to say about it because he probably thinks it's a tear in the veil or a portal. Guy, come on.
Oh, he might actually be pointing out that it is an airplane.
Tear in the veil?
He's actually saying portal or tear in the veil is an airplane.
Oh, okay,
I think he's actually
right.
pointing out that it's bogus. Just to give him a little credit on that.
But he could be the guy putting this video out, though. You know what I mean?
No, I get that. I hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is at this point.
Like an airplane. I saw this last night, and it looked to me like an airplane because of the wing.
Right.
But
and
this
it
other
really
guy,
Go ahead.
BB33 or something like that. I don't know what his name is, Mr. BB33 or Dabu 77 or someone did this, and they're like, "Well, look at that. Could we be dealing with a TRB3? You know, one of those aircraft that the UFO people love.
Yeah.
The black triangle. You know, like, see, more proof. No, it's not proof of anything. Can't see shit." But confirmation bias kicks in, and they're like, no, it's got to be. I knew it. And in the back of their head, they're affirming something, confirming something.
Yeah.
Like, I know aliens are. I know aliens exist. I don't care if it doesn't look like alien spaceship. It is.
Yeah,
even directed energy and bullshit. Did we call it or did we call it? We are unleashing so much. See, no, what I would do is I would either go about it myself, taking a look at how fire does what it does. I mean, yeah, those fires look very strange, but it's just for more investigation.
It definitely should get more investigation. I mean, I don't think many cars that catch on fire, if they have real alloy wheels, I don't think the alloy wheels melt all that often.
Yeah.
So that's a little weird. There's certainly strange things going on, and nobody's denying that. But like you said, to just state an absolute about it is just, like, it's just clickbait, and it does more harm than good.
Yeah, that was strange when I saw those wheels melted like that.
It doesn't now. I don't.
That was
how many car fires have I looked at and investigated? None. So I'm being presented with an image that to me looks quite strange. You know, but how often does that? And I did do some. I searched around for unrelated car fires to this particular event, and I didn't see that happening. It didn't seem like it was happening in other car fires. So, you know, yeah, there's a question there for sure.
Got rednecks doing burnout. Melting aluminum rim. Yeah, you need some heavy duty heat. But I can't see how a forest fire could be. Even with the wind blowing the fire and kind of creating a little torch out of it. There is a cool machine, and another topic, that crushes things for a garbage recycling place.
Yeah.
And they take old wheels and they throw it into this that crushes shit. It's got these huge gears that just demolish things. They grind together and turn them in seconds. It'll turn that thing into flakes.
Wow.
This isn't really a presentation. That's just sinking in molten aluminum.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I'm just in a place where I want to help. I want to figure out ways of helping people take those baby steps forward who are oblivious to what's going on in the world.
Yeah,
and I do think that it's baby steps. I think that there's a process most of us went through. First of all, you know, I didn't just go from being completely sold on everything I was told about the world to like flat Earth. There was a natural process that I followed. You know, it started off really small and like just curiosities about things. And then it builds over time until you're ready for something of that size. Because there's a lot you have to accept about the world to accept flat Earth.
When I was talking to someone I work with about this, he was a tourist in conspiracy land, possibly looking for an apartment to live in conspiracy land.
Nice. And
understood 9/11, but he asked me, he's like, "What do you think about that? You know, do you think a job?" I was like, well, "I don't really know. All I know is that what they told us couldn't have happened, and it wasn't airplanes. That's for sure." So he watched more videos and stuff on his own without me telling him, well, this person's going to start a fire with gasoline. That doesn't count. Starting a fire with a laser pointer. He put a match in there and a laser. I mean, if he threw the laser in there, if he threw the whole thing in the fire, it doesn't work. It's not working. You got to point it at it, man. I think she's lit already. Okay. Yeah. He wasn't supposed to show us the gasoline pouring. I guess it would have worked better for him that way. But I threw in flat Earth stuff to him not too long ago. You know, he had been asking me about the moon landing. Because the reasons he had to not believe the moon landing was he watched Bart Sabrell's video, which I can't stand. I hate Bart Sabrell. I can't. I would have punched way
is that
harder than that.
The funny thing happened on the way to the moon thing?
Yeah. Or
yeah.
I'm on Buzz's side with that one, with him knocking him out. I mean, anybody, any kind of balls would have smacked him. But I told him, the videos, it shows them overreacting to the claims and being asked about what happened and being asked to swear in the Bible. But technologically, it's impossible. We would have gone back, and none of the technology shows us that we could have gone there. And there's no footage, and there's lots of other reasons. So a few days later, a few weeks after that, I told him, you know, the Earth is what reason do you have to believe we live on a globe other than what you've been told, shown? Reason.
Right.
Like Earth looks, show me a place that depicts Earth as a globe from Earth. Like, are you gonna? You know, it's like the space agencies are lying to us. You can see right through them when I showed them a few ISS videos.
Right.
I mean, look, these days you can't tell fake from real in terms of special effects. They're too good. They can now simulate anything. literally anything. Like, did you see that Deadpool movie with Ryan Reynolds?
Yeah, I think I saw it. Forgettable.
There's a few car crashes where people go flying out of the cars, went up, and someone gets launched, and then they're shooting someone and doing flips. And it's all just layered. It's like they show someone diving, flipping in midair, and then they lay. That's one layer. And then the next layer is the car, and then they just, grab them with the mouse and slide them over, so it all lines up.
Sure.
But he couldn't answer that. He couldn't answer that. Show me where it's a globe. Show me that it's anything other than what I see every day. It's like there's no place we're going to go where we're upside down. And the other thing that bothered me, and this bothered me since I was a kid, and it comes from Star Wars and any other kind of movie that shows a spaceship approaching the side of a planet.
Yes.
That image. And National Geographic just had a picture of this, and it was a simulator of what it would look like. But if you're approaching, let me see if I can find movie in the beginning where it shows a ship of kind of hard to. Okay, here we go. Perfect. Position in relation to the side of a planet should be technically the same. Oh God, goddamn mouse sticks. Like if you were to fly in like this and land on this, whatever the area this is.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, they have that perspective of flying over land. I think they do it in one of the Alien movies where they're caught up in one of the storms. Might be the fourth one where they're going. It's really turbulent and the ship is bouncing around and all that.
Sure.
But they make it through, it calms down, and now they're flying forward above the ground.
Right.
That sort of thing, maybe like 100 feet off the ground. How did that all of a sudden they were going directly into the face of a planet, turn in to level out and all that?
Yeah, at
like,
the speeds they're claiming to enter. It's nonsense.
Technically, if this ship in this direction directly into that piece of land, we would look at it, us on the side of this ball. If we looked up, we would look at it aiming in this direction, like straight towards the ground.
Yeah.
So when does gravity all of a sudden go?
Flip it. Well, it does it when it needs to, man. Like everything gravity does. It does it when it needs to, and it does it invisibly, dude.
Magically.
It's just like amazing stuff.
I'm surprised they don't say gravity is smart.
No doubt. It's a conscious. Well, maybe they will. Maybe they're leading up to that. It's a conscious being, right? That's about the only thing.
Would fool people.
That's about the only thing that would make sense at this point, because it does so many amazing things. It must be alive. Conscious.
Yeah, gravity.
Unbelievable. Yeah, there's so much. I don't know. Maybe I could bounce this off you. I'm not big for coming up with possible evidences or things that demonstrate the fallacy of the ball or whatever. I haven't done much or any of that really. There's so many people out there doing it, doing a pretty good job. But I had this thought about, what they tell us about the sun and the whole thing. And, if you look up any most of the diagrams we have showing depicting the sun and the earth, they always have they have these little arrows or something that they're always putting it in the context of the sun is just shooting its light directly at earth, right? That's kind of how they want us to think of it in a way. But if it's what they tell us, if it's this big ball in outer space of, fiery ball of energy that's shooting, it would be shooting light in all directions at all times, correct?
Let me grab an image of what you're.
So if the sun is out there shooting its sunlight in all directions at all times, and the Earth they're telling us the Earth is orbiting at 67,000 miles per hour. Okay.
What you're talking about?
Yeah, this is fine. I mean, it gives people a frame of reference. So if you were to think of the sun shooting light out constantly in a 360-degree manner, and the Earth is orbiting at 67,000 miles an hour, now wouldn't the Earth be constantly moving through a sea of sunlight?
Say that again.
Wouldn't the Earth,
moving through?
If the sun is always putting out light, it would be a constant bath of sunlight in all directions, correct?
Right.
If it's what they tell us, the Earth would be constantly moving into sunlight. It would be moving into a sea of sunlight at all times. You see what I'm saying? It's a little abstract to express, I guess, in words.
Yeah, no, it would be shooting in all directions.
So the Earth would the Earth is moving at that speed around the sun, it's going to constantly be moving in to that sea of sunlight that's everywhere, that should be everywhere. So it's impossible for the Earth to only be 50% in sunlight at all times, is what I'm saying, which is what they claim. And they claim that by convincing us that the sun is somehow just shooting light directly at us, and that's all. Which is ridiculous in their model. That's not how.
It should be more like this.
It's like the sunlight should just be everywhere. Yeah, and the Earth would momentarily block the path of the sunlight as it went by. So behind it, you'd almost like see the light moving away from the Earth all the time on the other side. It would be very strange.
I hate to say it, but they've mapped it out, back engineered what's really happening just perfectly to make it work in their heliocentric model.
You think so? I don't see that. I think there's a lot of things that don't work.
See, the problem with it is, if this was the dawn of civilization, no NASA, none of that, no space agencies, why would anyone think or have the reason to think we're moving?
Of course, they wouldn't.
Is experience objects while we're still or while we're moving. There's no reason to think that the Earth is moving.
None whatsoever.
And there's no reason to think there's anything beneath us. The idea of beneath the Earth is really an issue for me. Like, no, the floor of the universe. That's it. There's no reason for anyone to think that the sun is, like, we're spinning around. It seemed to me like it was a bad joke that got caught on, or like a revenge tactic by the kings of like the Greek days.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of things got switched around. Right? Like the Bible got switched around. The Bible story. A lot of it got moved around. All the info got moved around. You know, the New Testament. People liken that to somebody picking up a book, a part 2.
Right.
There. And starting to read it and getting a chapter in and going, what the fuck?
Right.
This guy, what happened to the old plot line? Like if Game of Thrones started up season 8 without Jon Snow, it'd be like, am I watching the right show?
Exactly. And language is so fragile anyway. It's such a fragile mechanism to convey specific ideas. The changing of one word, the changing of the order of words, in any way can completely change the entire meaning of everything. It's not like you'd have to change much. Could be minor shifts. You know, language is actually a little bit frightening. And I'm sure people experience
that's something
this.
I'm looking into.
Yeah,
I've been looking into linguistics a lot lately. They say if you understand linguistics, you'll understand everything.
Yeah.
You'll understand why people do what they do. You'll understand why the world's the way it is. If you can understand linguistics, why language is the way it is, and how efficient
powerful.
languages are the proper languages. Like German, I've heard is the most efficient language.
That's interesting.
But if you check out the Piraha tribe of the Amazon.
Okay.
Start with their language consists of. It'll probably say, I hate Wikipedia. I don't like it. That's one thing I don't like that Jaron does. He always references Wikipedia. I'm like, God, stop referencing that.
Yeah, it's a little problematic for sure.
Wikipedia before. But their language consists of like 8 consonants and 2 vowels. And there's a guy who went down there named Daniel Everett. And he went down as a missionary to teach them about Jesus Christ and the faith and all that. And ended up atheist. When did that happen?
Yeah, not after.
It's a really compelling story.
Okay, I want to check that out.
It's so bizarre. Sounds like he's coughing because of the way the language is set up. They also don't really have the perception of the future and the past and what happened yesterday, but they don't talk about it. To them, it's about living in the immediate now only. Yeah. They don't have plans down the line and stuff like that. They deal with whatever's in front of them at this moment.
That's so huge, man. I wonder how many of us ever live at all because we're always dealing with the future. We've been conditioned that way to more or less always be strategizing against the future. I mean, always. It's crazy.
With a few small storms.
If you can, you should drop a link in the chat for this for people.
Everybody should check this interview out because she gives a description of who these people are and why they are the way they are. Because she has read some of called Don't Sleep, There Are Snakes in the Grass or something like that. But let me get a link here.
Yeah, I want to check that out. I mean, we've all experienced, maybe even on a daily basis, the difficulty of you might think you've just communicated a perfectly clear idea to someone else, and then maybe a little later you find out that they completely misunderstood you, and this happens constantly with language. Language is a tricky animal, especially English.
Yeah, I'm putting the link in right there. Piraha tribe.
Nice.
This is like what started me on my interest or journey into linguistics.
Yeah. Cool. I'm going to check that out.
And the author's name is Daniel Everett, who's a professor who does lecturing in you know, across the country, everywhere.
That's cool.
Let me get this book up for a second. Find video. Don't sleep. There are snakes. Speaking Piraha. Sounds like. I got no sound.
Huh. What you got? Are you still there? I think you've gone silent.
Hello?
Hey.
So that froze my computer apparently.
I was wondering, it went, I was waiting for something to happen and I just let it be dead air for a second. Seemed appropriate, I guess.
It's weird, you can't see the spinning ball on the screen, but I'm getting the spinning ball of death.
Right.
This has ever happened. So you guys see a mouse, but I see a spinning ball. It's weird what shows.
Yeah, that's interesting.
So I had to jump on my phone.
Yeah, the old version of you is still in here.
Let's see if I could do it from Safari. It's funny, my screen hasn't changed. Yeah, that might have frozen things up. I don't know if I can watch the watch screen on YouTube. Can you still hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. I think it might. Flat Earth asshole still making videos. Dividing the truth from the lies. Oh my God. When is he just going to go away?
Yeah, I don't know, man. So much of what's going on with all of those things right now, it just feels like a bunch of noise.
I just step away from it.
You have to
turn my back on it.
We've got so many things to do to get done, and so many things we need to figure out how to do and get done, that this other nonsense is such a waste of everybody's time.
Say again? We've gotten so...
I'm just saying there's so much we need to get done and figure out how to get done, that all of this is such a waste of everybody's mental energy and time. You know, we've got to be, if we're going to start making progress in bigger leaps, which I think we need to do, we're going to have to figure out new ways to do it. It's like IPS was saying earlier, you know, he's always thinking outside the box. It's what I've always loved about him.
Yeah.
You know, he always finds these very interesting ways to try and push something out there, an idea. So the fidget spinner thing is, you know, but there's so many different approaches we could be taking. But to sit here and argue with each other about nonsense, what a waste of time. What a waste of everybody's talent.
Yeah. And it seems like it's a pissing contest with him. You know, it's unfortunate that he has that many followers and people that buy into what he's saying. But other than that, he's just...
Well, I feel like most... I mean, he started... I remember when he first hit, you know, when he first got going, I was all up on the sidelines for years on this thing, and I remember when he got started, it seemed authentic enough, and I'm not even saying he isn't being authentic now. From his perspective of what he feels is going on and whatever. I'm not making that judgment. I'm not interested in making that judgment. But all I can say is it's not going to help us move forward.
He's going about it the wrong way. I think he's going about it. If he has issues, then he should bring it to the forum in a mature way, where, you know, it becomes a topic in the forum.
Yeah.
But calling people names and doing his little like flat versus globe shit, to me, is just not the way an educated, like anybody educated who wants an educated response should go about it.
Right. Yeah, there's a lot more we could be doing, and it's unfortunately so often when I go to try to watch a lot of Flat Earth streams, you know, on any given channel, it often devolves into just a back and forth kind of pissing match about something that really isn't even that important. So I don't know, it's disappointing.
Yeah, creating these little mini wars doesn't help anybody. That's why I like Bro Sanchez's last, or Broderick Sanchez. I liked his last hangout, which was more about like unity, and he had a few people on there saying some good stuff until that kind of devolved into a little bit of a pissing match.
That's what I mean. Yeah, you know, I think it's difficult for us. We need to find a way to keep things on track a little better. Like, we get derailed too easily.
Yeah.
It's like all, you know, there's this little like noise making light or something that's bouncing around, and everybody's just kind of like, whoa, it's over there, let's run over there and shake it up over there for a while, and then it bounces over somewhere else, and it's like, you know, to BOB or to what we're just flitting around following this thing, and we need to take control of it and put it in a direction that is useful, and figure out a way to stay focused and moving that direction as a group. It would be cool.
Yeah, and then this thing with Mark Sargent that popped up is just creating a divide amongst people.
I don't know if I've even...
Don't even bother. Don't even bother.
I don't know if I've even hit on it. I've taken a couple... Is it within the last couple days?
Yeah.
Yeah, I took a couple days off. I've just been doing nothing but working lately, and I just needed to unplug. So I don't even know about it.
Yeah, it was pretty much this guy made a video claiming Mark Sargent was somebody else, that he was involved in Flat Earth since 2010, and he had an app that dated back to this date. And then everyone jumped on top of it saying Mark's a shill, like nothing new there, nothing to see there.
Yeah, that's been nonstop forever.
And Mark answered to it. He pretty much said, he explained why things were the way they were and what his involvement was. Okay, hang on one second. Now I'm opening apps. Why am I opening a Q&A session? What the hell's Q&A? Why did that open up?
No idea.
Okay. There I am. Okay.
But then there's another version of you still in here too.
Yeah, that's me on my phone.
Gotcha.
So I was somewhere around here. Okay. All right. Let me just step back. Do that. Application window. So do you have YouTube? Okay. Okay, cool. So yeah, the Pirahawk tribe. This is what they sound like.
Cool.
Okay, you there?
Yeah.
Okay. It's good. It's kind of low. Kind of an idea of what they sound like. It's more interesting when Daniel Everett, he's telling his story. But yeah, the kicker is not only how interesting this tribe is and their way of life, but how he came down as a missionary. And they pretty much asked him, who is this Jesus character you're talking about? Do you know him? Is he one of your grandfathers? Is he your father? How do you know this person? And he was like, I don't know the person. I've never met them. This person exists a long time ago. And they were like, well, then who cares? What effect does that have on us now? And it was like through that commentary that he eventually lost his faith in the Catholic Church and Christianity or whatever he came down to settle them with. And he lived there for like 7 years with his family down there. And these people hadn't been infected with modern society, cell phones and that sort of thing.
Sure.
Really,
sorry, I'm getting an echo on my end, so that's always distracting.
yeah.
There was a movie called At Play in the Fields of the Lord. Have you ever seen that?
At Play in the Fields of the Lord?
Yeah.
Sounds interesting.
It's brilliant film, and it seems like it's almost, I don't know if this is the tribe it's depicting, but yeah, it's a fascinating film, and it just made me think of it. People should check it out if they haven't seen it. It's kind of off the map for some reason. It should be a movie everybody knows about. But I don't know. It's like it's like this tribe is just down to the bare essential. They have enough language to communicate exactly what they need to and nothing more. It seems they don't need to go into abstractions. Like about the past and the future and
Yeah, 1991. Martin and Hazel Corey are small town fundamentalist missionaries sent to the jungle of South America to convert Indians. That looks good. I gotta check this out.
Oh, it's an amazing film, dude. It's very powerful. Yeah, it's good stuff. But I'm gonna check out this thing, and I need to learn a lot more about linguistics too. And I mean, I think any of us trying to work in a capacity of communicating these ideas to others in a way that is actually effective and impactful, we probably all should be delving into that type of study, so we understand what it is that we're telling people, first of all, and how to do it in a way that doesn't. I think one of the biggest problems is avoiding triggering people's defense mechanisms.
Yep.
Which is something almost the typical flat smack approach is it instantaneously puts people on the defensive.
Yeah, I don't think people know how to react to it. Like they literally don't know what to say.
No. And how should they? How could they?
I see a lot of people taking offense to the idea that they've been fooled or that they're dumb. Like, what are you trying to say? I'm an idiot? You're telling me that the earth is flat and you want me to believe you. That makes me an idiot. I didn't believe it.
Yeah, right.
And what you're saying means I have to stand here and admit fault to being wrong about something. And that's a lot.
Right.
Out of someone.
It's a crazy amount to ask. Now, I'm not saying that that can't lead to somebody waking up down the road. It certainly could, because they might, even in the moment, if they react that way and their defenses go up over the next weeks or months, if they're the kind of person that questions anything or introspective at all, it might start them on an exploration. So I'm not saying it doesn't have any value or it can't do anything, that approach. But I think overall, we can find much better methods of easing people in to a way of thinking that makes the flat earth much more approachable for them later,
Yeah. A lot of it also deals with caring about your own life or having an interest in why you do the things why you do the things you do. Some people are just so apathetic. They don't care about anything but TV or sports or something like that.
Right.
Once you do take an interest, it needs to be one of the options for those people. Like, hey, while you're checking out etymology, understand that this goes deeper. The place you think you live is not where you live.
Right.
There's a lot more out there to revel in. There's a lot more wonder. There's a lot more mystery.
That's the key thing too, is that it's not a doom and gloom. It's not this should actually be, for me, it's been all of a sudden being here and realizing that there's this tremendous amount to be discovered and mystery to be, delved into. That's exciting.
Yeah.
That's, what might we discover in our lifetimes if we can get enough people on board? Like, who knows what we might discover about this place we live in. And that's a lot more exciting than having all these answers already on a plate for us that tell us it's basically random chaos with no meaning and it's all going to burn out eventually anyway.
Yeah, like, what are the Globers really saying? What are they really saying? Like, stop thinking? Like, no, we don't want you to stop thinking. We just don't want you to say the earth is flat because they told us it wasn't. So just listen to what they're telling you. That's all. Come with us. Drink some of this, Good this way. You know, have some of this stuff. Come on, we're all doing it. Look at all this over here. We got this many people, and look, you only have that many people. Come with us. Earth's a globe. Yeah, you don't want that funny business with flat Earth.
Yeah.
It's scary.
Yeah, it is scary, and I think, like most people, it really bothers me, you know, that that children in mass are being lied to. You know.
Oh yeah.
But here's the thing, like even skeptical people, even people who are relatively on board with all of mainstream's information, even a high percentage of those people would agree that something's off with 9/11, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's become pretty widespread that most people aren't going to accept the official narrative at face value. But then why are they being allowed to teach it in schools as part of the curriculum? This is where I start to wonder, like, okay, like I think you said earlier, even if they came out and said the Earth was flat tomorrow, officially, people wouldn't even, they're not going to react to that.
People aren't even going to say, they're going to, what's the next story? What did Trump do? You know, it comes back to like self-confidence and how control you want over your life.
If the majority of people on a percentage understand that the official narrative of 9/11 is false, why are they allowing it to be taught in schools as fact? Why aren't people doing something about it? Why isn't something being done about that? But nothing's being done about it. So the kids they're just going to keep being taught the lie. And so the kids who didn't even experience it, they weren't even around when it happened, they're just going to have what they were taught from a textbook about it, and they're going to believe it 100%.
Yeah.
And we're just allowing that to happen.
Right. And people will say, well, then I'll get fired. And if I get fired, I can't pay my bills. And it all comes back to bills. Bills. I got to pay the bills.
Yeah.
It's like, well, if everyone called into this, bills wouldn't be so important.
I wouldn't think so. Yeah.
It wouldn't be so important. Things would change immediately.
Yeah.
You know, people. But information isn't going to change things. People need to change the way they think, because just like Hurricane Harvey. What? When did that? Oh yeah, I remember that thing that happened. But no one, it's gone. People lost their homes. And what about the people who lost their homes in the California fires? Why aren't they out there trying to, like, are they just saying, oh, I guess it was a forest fire? Didn't they watch this happen? They aren't doing anything about it. They're not standing up for themselves and saying, and getting pissed off.
Exactly. I don't know what would it take? What would it take to have an actual reaction that created momentum?
People need to change the way they're thinking. They need to understand their place. And when they understand their place in the universe, then they can stand up and say, holy shit, this isn't supposed to be this way. Because according to that flat earther guy, he said we're the center of the universe, and we've been told. So I'm not just an insignificant piece of shit. Maybe I do have a say in this.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
And something. Maybe my life does mean something, and it changes everything. But it should start there.
It gives me, it's good stuff.
It would be easy information to digest if someone's already there, because they can handle it. It doesn't fracture their reality so quickly. But when people are weak, they can't handle statements like that. They need to go check with the authority figure. And is that okay that he said flat Earth? I don't know.
No, I know. Okay. That's what's going on.
Tell me what to do. Tell me what to think. What are the people online saying?
Well, and again, this is a layered psychological phenomenon that's going on, because not only are they, it's just kind of easier if they can look to the authority gives them permission to not have to care about it. They're basically giving them an easy out to just go about their whatever little thing that they do in their lives that they don't want to have interrupted because of some bigger thing that they should be caring about. They kind of get the permission to just, like, maybe they're obsessed, like you said, with watching sports all day or whatever they're into. They kind of get the permission to just continue on that path because, that's all nonsense because this guy said so and he's an authority figure.
Yeah, the idea of giving permission is ridiculous, and it's got to go. Got to fucking go.
Yeah.
Nobody gets permission to anybody for anything except you for your life. You're the king of your life, the president of your life, whatever. You're the author, so you are the authority figure. That's what that's the word means. The authority is the author, the creator of something. And
nice.
The other thing I was going to say is it's a different situation when there's two people talking to one person. Whereas the other guy that I work with said, oh, yeah, I watched the movie by somebody named Aaron Russo. And I was like, okay, good start. Aaron Russo he's a guy who worked in film. His story is he was friends with Nick Rockefeller. And Nick Rockefeller told him the whole story about how they wanted everyone, how 9/11 was just to get start an ongoing war, and that they wanted pipelines in the Caspian Sea. And eventually they planned on having everybody chipped with RFID chips. And he kind of wanted Aaron Russo to come along figuratively and join the club, but he resisted. So anyway, I was like, oh, well, that's good. Well, we can work from there. And the other guy who I'd spoken to Flat Earth about, who is not a flat earther, but he's well aware of the situation, and had a moment where he didn't know what to say for a good 5 minutes. And I looked at him and I was like, uh-oh. He had his head down, staring at the steering wheel, because we were just hanging out in the truck. And I kind of just got out of the truck and had a cigarette outside, and then left him to think for a little bit, because it was a lot. I saw it processing, and it saw the gears turning.
Yeah.
And now I think he's a little bit, more okay with it. And when him and I both started questioning the other guy who's our boss about 9/11, it was so much easier, because once I said something, he backed it up. Once he said something, I backed it up.
Right. Yeah, of course. I mean, that's exactly how it's been working against us forever. The groupthink mentality, the power of that is huge.
Is a big deal. That's why with this FEMA camp thing, if we were to go out in public with two flat earth friends in a situation where the conversation comes up, although in public people are on their own, sort of, whereas in a work environment it's different. But for, let's say, I don't know if the venue has any employees, like bar staff or whatever. I don't even know if there's a bar there. And there's two of us together. It works it's a whole different dynamic. It's so much easier to convey.
Yeah.
And it looks better too when two people, because it's not just one lone nutcase telling people to learn. Now the two nutcases there.
Yeah.
One lends credibility to the other.
Yeah, most definitely, man. I mean, there's just a lot. I think that.
Are you going?
We have a lot. I was planning on going, but I had to take on another freelance gig, design gig, and I have to be available right during that, right when it's going on.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah, it bums me out, but I'm going to figure out a way. I'll ship as many copies of the magazine, Flat Revival magazine, to the venue as I can afford to. And I'll make it available at a as close to cost as I can for people to order, so it can at least be there, hopefully.
What's the website?
Just flatrevival.com. And, issue 2 is already coming together really well. We've got Jibby Jedi's doing the cover story for issue number 2. And it's, there's been a slight philosophy shift from number 1 to number 2. And I take responsibility. I kind of got locked into a vision for Flat Revival magazine, where I wanted it to be this publication for flat earthers that would just engage them where they live, and it didn't have to go into the 101s of evidences and things like that. It was going to challenge flat earthers and be something they would just love reading. But my oversight, I think, what I failed to realize is that something flat earthers want more than anything is to have something physical they can give to someone who isn't a flat earther that will have value to them. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Another technique that I used to pass this information along to strangers is take a book with me to maybe a diner or a restaurant, and I put it right on the table.
There you go. So issue number 2 is going to be, it's going to have that component to it as well, where it's something you could hand to someone who doesn't know anything about it, and they're going to be able to get a lot out of it, and you could give it to people, and it's not just going to be like way over their head. Everything isn't just going to be out of reach for them. So yeah, we're shifting a little bit on what it's going to be. Both. There's going to be really deeper philosophical conversations about the implications of all this and exploring those ideas, but it's also going to offer a lot of stuff for people who maybe don't know about this yet, so it's been an interesting process.
I'm just looking at the website. There's somebody won. What was the contest? If you could express one sentiment about flat Earth in the world, what would it be?
Yeah, we had a great artist won that contest. They won a couple t-shirts from flatearthmerch.com. Cool stuff over there. If you haven't checked it out, he's got some great designs.
Misfits and the Beastie Boys one. I'm assuming that's Beastie Boys one.
Yeah. He does a lot of play on pop culture stuff.
I love those kind of shirts where they just switch the words around, or like logos when they change the word. Flat Earth merch. Check that out.
Yeah, he's a good guy. I mean, he stepped up to the plate and advertised in issue number 1. Before he even knew it was going to be a real thing. It was just an idea at that point, and that was huge, because this thing wouldn't have gotten off the ground without the initial support through GoFundMe and stuff. There's no way I could have done it. So
I'm showing Flat Earth merch. Right
now. He's got some good stuff. No sleep till Flat Earth, Fake X.
Brilliant. That's so easy. It's so quick, and that's perfect.
Fight Club. These are kind of stuff that just starts conversations.
Love this shit. I gotta get some of them. Earth is flat. Genius. That's fucking genius right there.
See, he's always cranking out new concepts, and he's a good guy,
Yeah, if we could, like, the best way to do a t-shirt thing, although it costs money, is to just throw them out, throw them out into a crowd of people.
Sure. Like
at shows.
Sure.
Any kind of concert, or just give them to people. Hey, you want a free t-shirt? Then automatically you're in good standing with the person you give it to.
I think musical events is probably one of the great ways we can move forward with this kind of thing, because everybody if it's great music, people don't care. They don't necessarily care. They're not going to go based on what the message is necessarily. If it's good music that brings people together, and then you can throw these t-shirts out into the crowd. You can deliver the message in the context of something. Everybody is comfortable with, which is going to see a really badass music show. So I think that's a lot. We can do a lot more with that kind of approach. You know, we don't have to put Flat Earth on the marquee, is what I'm saying.
Right. Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Just get people to a great music show, and then you can drop the Flat Earth thing into the context of the show.
Because to me, Flat Earth is about questioning. It's about
exactly
things. Just like how every guy hated me in the union when I asked questions in safety class. When OSHA does a thing where it's mandatory for everyone to go to get your OSHA 30 card, and you have to sit there and listen to someone talk about how important safety is. And when you're an electrician, I think it's kind of important. A little bit.
Right.
And especially one who's had an injury. And every time I asked a question about something, I would hear grunting and groaning from the back, like they just wanted to go home and get it done with. And it's like, well, where does that end? You know, where does it end? Like, if you just want to get things over with, what is it you're getting back to in the end? But questioning things in general is what scares people that are trying to indoctrinate others. You know, that's a real stab forward. You know, why does everything should be answerable? It should be able to be answered to. You shouldn't fear questions. The authority figure.
Absolutely not.
The fake authority.
No.
And if you just keep asking why, well, why is it like that? Why is it like that? That train eventually stops when you've given an answer. But that's not the case.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Why, you know, how can they prove the Earth is a sphere? Yeah, you can just look at these photos here. Well, those are just photos. Okay, well, everybody knows the Earth is a globe. Everybody knows this. It's like, no, and I think the globe heads know. They think it's a globe because of the flat Earth. Because the flat Earth came out and asked questions.
Right. That's interesting.
What they think they live on. And they're just going against the grain because you're not going to be a popular guy in this community movement thing.
Yeah.
You're a flat earther. But if you're against it, there you go. That's your ticket. You know,
but maybe I can bounce this idea off of you. We haven't spoken about this publicly yet, but I'm getting set up for Flat Revival magazine. I'm getting it set up. It's going to be a 4-foot table with a custom printed table skirt, and I'll probably have like a trifold brochure, informational brochure kind of thing, and of course the magazine. And this is having something like a magazine gives people a context to go out into the world. People understand commerce. They understand somebody setting up a table and offering them something for sale, right? Mm-hmm. It's comfortable. It creates a comfortable environment for people to step up to a table that's selling something to them, rather than say somebody on a street corner holding a sign shouting something at them. That's something, a lot of people walk to the other side of the street to avoid it. But if we have this context of it, I'm not comfortable just walking up to strangers and starting a conversation about flat Earth. That's not something I would do. But having a table set up that people can approach, and then I can start a dialogue with people that way through something like the magazine, that creates a context that I can work in, that I'm comfortable with.
Oh yeah, you just took the idea right off the top of my head. Because the last big show that I did was down in Philly, and it was the Made in America Festival, headlined by Jay-Z and some other hip hop artist who's got a huge following. But I mean, Jay-Z alone was the real draw. So there was 7 stages set up, all with different acts happening. There's 60 bands in total. But anyway, there was a field it was in like Ben Franklin Park or whatever in Philadelphia. Pretty big setup, like large festival.
Yeah.
It was really spread out. And there was a row of tents that were connected, and they were all for like a cause. You know, there was one there for animal rights, and it was a local shelter, and they all had their pamphlets and all this. The other one was like Red Cross. Another one was like Vegan Society, and et cetera, et cetera.
Right.
And I was, fuck, you know, there could definitely be a flat earth one sitting sandwiched right in between these two.
Exactly.
You know.
But here, you know, I think even a step beyond that, we could have been with something like a magazine to sell. We don't even have to be necessarily in with the causes. You know what I mean? Which I think is actually better. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it being grouped in with a cause as such, but I think if you really want to create a comfort zone for people to approach a table, if it's just them saying, well, what have you got here? What's this magazine? What is it about?
Yeah.
Why would I want to buy? That creates a dialogue really easily, and they don't even have to come into it feeling like, oh, this is some kind of like movement or charity thing. Like that makes some people really uncomfortable.
Yeah, no, I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying, and a lot of people do things in that way. Like, why am I looking at this? Like, why am I standing here talking to you? Sell me on this. It's like these people that were at this festival are asking for it because they're there for a reason, and the headlining act isn't going to play for another 5 hours, so they're just kind of like kids getting stoned, walking around, going, "What do we do next?" And there's so easily what's the word I want to say, conditioned to like or think anything, because they see one kid they see one group do one thing. Like one of the stages I was at didn't have a crowd yet. The band started playing, and then like this group came over, and I could see like the gear starting in everyone's head. This smaller group saw that, and they walked over, and they all started walking over.
Yeah.
I was looking at the guy, the lead singer, like, shit, man, you could say anything right now and get the crowd rooting for it. Anything.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. So I mean, what we're thinking as a possibility, and we don't know if people would be interested in this at all, you know, or if it would be too, I don't know if it's too expensive or whatever, but what we're thinking is, what if we open up Flat Revival magazine, the context of that, having issues of something to offer people to sell. If people like set up street crew, people all over the country, that they have a setup themselves with the table and the printed skirt, and they can present this thing on a professional level. And then we make every time we put out an issue, the people who are set up like this, they can order copies at cost. Okay. As part of the street crew, and then they can go out and have a context to talk to people about Flat Earth using this little Flat Revival booth. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, this is a great idea. I love that.
You know, and I don't know if people would be interested in that, if that's something people would want to do, but I think, you know, we can make that available.
Slowly, it'll become less of a bad word. Flat Earth. It won't be so harsh and so much to swallow. It'll be people like young people will have heard of it. Oh yeah, I heard about that Flat Earth thing.
Yeah, exactly. The more we can do that and achieve that and get it out into the street in some way where it's like, yeah, on a percentage where most people have at least heard of it, then it, you know, I don't know. It's just ideas. We're always trying to bat around ideas with Flat Revival and figure out, well, now that we have this thing off the ground and issue 2 is coming out mid-November, you know, and we're going to start, you know, once we have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 issues, you know, it starts to become a thing with some weight behind it and momentum. I think there's lots of ways it could be leveraged, for sure.
I'm down for that. You have a East Coast proponent.
Nice. I mean, I think the whole setup would probably cost, you know, $250 with the table and the skirt and the, you know, all the stuff. So we wanted to make sure that it's a, you know, it's got to be a I don't want it to be like a cardboard sign leaned up against a garbage can. You know, I want it to be like a professional, you know, a nice.
Yep.
So if people can get the little setup, take a photo of it, show us that you're ready to go, then you get your, boom, you get your at cost discount, and you're not going to make a fortune selling the mag. By the time you pay for the shipping and stuff, you could make a little selling the magazine, but that's not the point. The point is giving you a reason, a context to go out and be able to engage people about it. You know? So that's, you know, we're thinking about that kind of stuff. There's a lot of things we want to do.
The people at most of these festivals, they're really open to like anything. Because that's why they're getting up and going, because to see something new that they haven't seen before, to be entertained, and people are, I think, inherently good and enjoy this sort of thing, something new. So to stick this in there is a great way to get it more screen time.
I think so.
You can't rely on mainstream anything for any, because everything is suspect. If it's good or bad, if it's mainstream, it's fake. It's bullshit.
Oh man, absolutely. Yeah, we've got to start making all of our own stuff.
I mean,
period.
It does help that the Kyrie Irving and Shaquille, because it's going to keep coming around just as long as people keep their flat earthing up. You know, stay strong with it. If you're going to tell someone about it, don't back down. And don't get into a proving match either, because that doesn't help.
No, it doesn't.
It can't happen on the spot. It's got to be a forum situation where, like a professional debate, this kind of thing. So don't even enter the debate thing, because they'll say something that they believe. It'll come down to beliefs. But just ask them, which I like to do, is, you know, show me how I can see the Earth as a globe that isn't on screen or not on paper.
Yeah.
Earth is
it's always better to ask questions than to tell people something.
And then walk away. It just leave it alone. You know, that's why when I saw that video of the guy in Boston, Ernest something, he had like a thing set up by a couple of in Cambridge in Boston.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, I respect his energy and all that, but I don't really think, I don't know. It's not right for me to say that he's doing the wrong thing. Power to him. But for himself, because that's what we're doing. We have to do it for ourselves. We can't do it for like YouTube notoriety. We're doing it
right.
It's not gonna, I'm doing it for me because it makes me happy. Like that day I was really excited when I had turned one person, a person that I know. He's a cool guy, he's a guitar player, he's funny.
Yeah.
I was really happy that somebody caught it. I felt better, and that was good enough for me.
Yeah, if you're doing it for the other reasons, for some kind of
YouTube,
like you said, notoriety, you're gonna find yourself exhausted really quick.
It's not a contest to see who can turn the most people into flat earthers. It's not a contest, because this should inherently have its own value. When you discover where you live, your life becomes better.
Yeah.
Which means it's for people who give a shit about making their lives better. And some people are stuck or not stuck. Some people are happy the way they are, and they can't, you know, nothing we can say about that.
No, there's just move on. There's quite a few people here, We just move on to the, you know. Yeah.
Flat Earth doesn't offer them anything, which I feel bad for those people. But
well, man, I better get to it. Actually, I've taken a couple days off. I need to get to work on Flat Revival stuff. And
how can I get a couple of copies? Should I just wait until FEMA?
The copies are available for order through the website. It's super easy to get to. If you just go to the main page, there's a big thing to click on, or you can order it through Amazon, depending on where you live. If you're outside the U.S., like ordering it through Amazon Europe's probably a better way to go for shipping cost. But if you live in the U.S., ordering it right through the CreateSpace store, which is linked on the website, is it's better for the magazine, because Amazon basically kills all the royalties. You know.
Website. I'm looking at it right now. Shipping, apply discount codes. Are there discount codes?
We'll probably be offering, when issue 2 hits, we'll probably offer a nice discount on issue 1. You know, kind of do it that way.
$9 is fine by me, because I go to Barnes and Noble.
Oh man, well, yeah, there's hundreds of hours of work in this thing.
Yeah, I know how,
and
very few people are gonna get how much time goes into a magazine, but it's shitloads of hours, so much work.
It's insane. I mean, it's probably not going to be won't be as intensive next issue, because I've got the framework now. I've got a template that works. So the first one had to be built from scratch, from zero, of course. But now I've got, CreateSpace gave us a lot of headaches trying to get the files approved and whatnot. But we've got that figured out. But the amount of time it takes to everything being submitted to us is being professionally edited by Louis Lewis. That's what he does. We're not just taking people's Word docs, slapping them on a page, and calling it good. This is a professional publication. We're doing it right. Everything's going to be edited, approved. We don't want to put something out there that doesn't help the cause. It's got to be good enough and professional enough that it can stand toe to toe with other publications on the shelf. That's the point of it.
Yeah, and there's not much out there. There's like Skeptic magazine. I think there's a magazine called Skeptic.
Okay.
Is like exactly where they want. It's exactly as skeptical as they want people. So,
right.
With this magazine, like, if you're gonna be skeptical, do it like this. We said,
yeah, you're still within the acceptable boundary, but you're right on the fringe of it. Well, I can assure you that Flat Revival obliterates that boundary and exists way outside of anything mainstream would deem acceptable. That's for sure. I mean, we got Crow 777 writing content for us. Spiritual North is writing an article for issue number 2. We've got Flat Earth Smarts in there. We've got just so many great people dropping stuff. And there's a woman from Puerto Rico who's telling her story in issue number 2 of the magazine. We're going to broaden our scope. The same control mechanism that oppresses the people in Puerto Rico is the same mechanism that's lying to us about the shape of the earth. I mean, it's all interconnected, so it's relevant. So telling someone's story about Puerto Rico and the oppression that's going on there and the control that's going on there, I think that's relevant to Flat Earth.
Yeah.
It's connected. So it was really cool to me that this is the thing, is like, where is this woman going to get her side of the story in print, published in a magazine? So I think Flat Revival is evolving already. It's already becoming something probably bigger than we thought or broader in scope, and that's a good thing. You know, not every single paragraph has to say flat Earth. That's not the point of it.
Yeah, I'm just putting in my credit card number. I think I used to have it memorized. Hang on.
So yeah, you know, anyone who hasn't checked out or ordered a copy of Flat Revival, you know, that we'd love for you to do that. We're exploring ways of, you know, maybe we'll come out, maybe we'll drop a black and white version. Maybe we should do black and white version alongside the color version. It drops the cost down. If cost is an issue for people, you know, making a black and white version available might be a way for more people to be able to order it. So, you know, we're exploring different options.
And have you guys offered subscription?
Wait, there's no real, I mean, CreateSpace for some odd reason doesn't offer any way to offer subscriptions through their, I don't know how I would do that. I mean, we could set up some separate payment thing and then, but then how do I cover shipping costs? And then it would all have to be done manually. Like there would be no, it becomes it's a difficult thing to know how to deal with the subscription thing. And you know, most magazines probably they offset the shipping cost. They have advertising, a lot of advertising.
Yeah.
You know how I can't have like let's say it's an $8.99 cover price. People are going to expect if you get a 1-year subscription, say, that you're going to actually get a discount on that cover price. That's what people have become accustomed to, right?
Yeah.
But how would that be feasible? Because I can't, there's no money to pay for shipping, and it could be, I might need to ship it to Australia, which is going to cost me like $8, you know? So yeah, it's difficult. Offering subscriptions at this point it's kind of not something we can do until we grow momentum, maybe I don't know if we're ever going to have advertising dollars. I mean, like I said, Flat Earth Merch stepped up and advertised with us, which was awesome. But, you know, realistically, given our material and the things that we're going to be talking about, I'm not sure there's going to be a huge advertising rush on the magazine.
Right.
So,
yeah,
it's tough.
You have a confirmation from, I just ordered the first issue from
Nice.
CreateSpace. So
well, I'd love to hear what your thoughts on it, you know.
I love the cover, that Einstein picture.
Oh, it's so good. Zetetic Mindset is the artist on that. He was in the Globe Exit Art Show. I bought that piece of original art. I have it.
It's like borderline freaky and scary. And
yeah, there's 3 or 4 more inside the issue. He did a whole series of them, and it's I use them for that article, The Hypnotic Dogma of Scientism. Yeah, just great pieces. There's a lot of good art in issue 1. It's incredible. And yeah, we're hoping that somebody can step up and do a really nice write-up for FEMA Camp for issue number 2. That would be cool.
Have you heard
someone who's going to be there and can really speak to it from actually being there and part of the experience?
It'd be cool to do an issue that covers that and the Flat Earth conference.
Definitely
an issue out of that.
Yeah, I mean that probably could be a whole issue, but as it is, I think I have at least a 2-page spread set aside for FEMA Camp. If it needs to be bigger, we can definitely, if someone steps up and wants to write, like really delve into it, and I'm sure we'll have a great photo gallery, you know. But we can increase that to 3 or 4 pages probably if it's good stuff, which I'm sure it would be. So yeah, I'm hoping somebody that's going to be there has some writing chops and wants to step up and do that. That would be great. So cool, man. This was really fun. I like hanging out here. It's good stuff.
Yeah, man, you're always welcome. And I think it should be really, really fun next week. Really
yeah, I'm hoping that my work allows me. I'll probably just have I'm sure there's going to be streaming going on pretty much the entire time.
Yeah, from a different angles too.
So if I'm having to, knock out some nonsense graphic design work for work, I plan on having that at least in my ears and watching it whenever I can. So that's going to be cool.
Yeah, I'm going to try to get some good footage. And if I don't think he's here in the chat anymore. Guy who said he was going to bring a drum set. I think his name was Adam. I'm not sure. But yeah, it should be cool. It should be good.
Yeah.
It's hang out, like a good room shot, or like maybe someone going like a simulcast kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Heliocentric is in the chat. I was going to ask. He's bringing a drum set. That's cool. That's really awesome. Nice. Thank you so much. I was going to rent one from a guy in Denver, but yeah, that would be phenomenal. Snare, rack tom, floor tom, kick drum. All I need is a ride and a crash and hi-hats.
Nice, dude. That's awesome. Yeah, it just
hi-hats, drum
seems like this is by far the most ambitious, largest flat earth centric event that's ever been attempted, as far as I know.
Yeah. Yeah. The other thing, I was going to go to the North Carolina thing, but then I just asked myself, what is anyone going to say that I haven't heard them say already? No offense to the presenter,
No, of course not.
But I've heard everything they have to say.
It's kind of a valid point. I mean,
and it's going to be an echo chamber. No offense to the conference, kind of going to be an echo chamber. It's like you're speaking, like preaching to the choir.
At least give us some live music while you're doing it. Like, yeah, that's what FEMA Camp's going to be. It's engaging in that way. It's like a festival for woke people. I mean, how cool is that?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like I hear what you're saying. So you're at the conference, you're going to be listening to people on a panel who you listen to pretty much on a daily or weekly basis.
Mm-hmm.
And unless they have some monumental presentations that they've been working on that they're going to drop, are they going to put on a play, or
yeah,
are they going to do something that they can't do individually from their YouTube platforms or whatever? If they're planning something like that, that would be really cool. But probably not.
And the prices, I wasn't hip to that. I mean, it's only 8 hours of drive, which is no big deal, but I wasn't cool with those prices. It looked to me like a money-making situation.
Sure.
Yes, this is not about that.
No, I think it needs to be self-sustaining.
Yeah, it should be free.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that, and as someone who's trying to do something I do have to charge people money for. Everything you do costs money. Having the website, having anything that you have set up and are trying to get a table set up that I can present at shows with, everything costs money. And if you're doing something that can't sustain itself, that's not going to help anyone.
And that's why, like, when I was talking about the meetups, like when I had the meetup back in 2015, I was paying for it and I was the organizer. And I liked that. I was, okay, well, I'm the head honcho here. I get to call the shot. That's kind of cool. Not that there's really that dots to call. But all right, I got to get going. Ty, it was great having you on.
Everybody, me too, dude.
And we'll check everybody later. Stay in touch. Stay in contact. Look for FEMA Camp. Look for the broadcast. I don't know who's going to do it, but
I'm sure there'll be several. Yeah.
Maybe, yes.
All right, man. Thanks a lot.
Take care, Ty. Talk to you later.